Hi, I'm John Cash. Welcome to John Cash Ministries and Revelations Church's daily devotion. Today, a special devotion called De-Stressing Your Life for Good. Now, I have an article here that will take several minutes to read, but it's very important. So listen closely. Terrorism, chaos, fear of the future. America is undergoing a fundamental transformation. That much everyone knows. But what few seem to realize about this transformation is the sheer stress of living in today's America is driving tens of millions of people to the point of illness, depression, and self-destruction. Consider the following trends. Suicide has surpassed car crashes as the leading cause of injury, death for Americans. Even more disturbing, the world's greatest military, the U.S. soldier, more died from suicide last year than combat. Fully 1/3 of the nation's employees suffer a chronic, deliberating stress, and more than half of the millennials, which is 18 through 33-year-olds, experience a level of stress that keeps them awake at night, including large numbers with depression and anxiety disorder. Shocking news from the Federal Center for Disease Control says that 1 in 5 high school age students in the United States have been diagnosed with ADHD. Likewise, a large study from New York City residents say that about 1 in 5 preteens, that's 6 to 12, have been medically diagnosed with ADHD, anxiety, depression, or bipolar disorder. New research concludes that stress renders people susceptible to serious illness. There's that connection. And a growing number of studies now confirm that chronic stress plays a major role in the progression of cancer, the nation's second biggest killer. The biggest killer, heart disease, which causes 25% of all deaths, is also known to have a huge stress component. Incredibly, 11% of all Americans aged 12 and older are currently taking SSRI antidepressants. And these are mood altering with the FDA's suicide warning on these. Women are especially prone to depression, with a stunning 23% of middle-aged women in their 40s and 50s now taking antidepressants, according to the CDC. Add to that the tens of millions of users of all types of psychiatric drugs, including, you can just pick one, the 6.4 million American children with ADHD being described Ritalin. Throw in 28% of Americans with an adult drinking problem. That's 60 million right there. Then we have 22 million using illegal drugs, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, that type of thing. And you see that we have a huge problem in America. And by the way, in Europe, some studies have said that up to 40% of Europeans are plagued with some type of mental illness, much of it related to stress. Now here's the question, what in the world is going on? In the age of science, where science has all the answers, scientists and secular therapists are absolutely clueless, and they don't. Well, I have the answer to de-stress your life, and his name is Jesus Christ. Philippians 4:6 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God." In other words, this anxiety is stress. God says don't be stressed about anything. Don't be anxious. Don't be worried. Don't be fearful about anything. Prayer, petition, thanksgiving. In other words, include God in the equation. As God is being kicked to the curb, Satan is being allowed in with darkness, and he's creating in people a great deal of depression, a great deal of stress. We have a busy world out there, and people are unable to deal with it because they aren't including God in their daily lives. And so again, Philippians makes it clear, don't be anxious or stressed about anything. Include God, prayer, thanksgiving, and then watch what happens when we include God. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, which means the liberals out there and individuals who refuse to believe in God, they're not going to understand this. They're not going to admit it. They're just not going to accept it. But the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds. Do you want to be guarded by God? Do you want to de-stress your life? When you are guarded by God and you have the armor of God, you have the Holy Spirit of God inside of you, when the stress, anxiety, and fear and all that darkness comes to take over your life, you know what happens? It bounces off you and back out into outer space. It bounces off you and back out into hell where it came from. It bounces off you and it goes on to Jesus, who can handle it, because we can't. And so I want to encourage you to de-stress your life. Include God daily, hourly, minute by minute, and you will see that yoke of stress and burdens and anxiety slowly melt away as God begins to take over your life. God bless you. Thank you for your support of John Cash Ministries and Revelations Church.